Hello and welcome to our mioty webinar. It's about getting ready with the mioty stack this time. My name is Micha Burger. I'm Solutions Engineer at the Mioty Alliance. And today with us, we have two Mioty Alliance member companies. So there we will have Mario Behringer, Senior Application Engineer from Stackforce, and Liliane Paradise, COO at Miromico. And they're showing us some insights about the mioty stack and how to get started really quickly. Those are two companies who are very active in the mioty topics and also member of the Mioty Alliance. So before we start, I would like to give you some more information about our format now that we have. So the edition is going to take us around 30 to 40 minutes, and there will be a quick demo as well. If you have questions, there is a question and answer section that you can use to write your questions down so that we can answer them at the end. And also, don't worry about the slides. We will hand out a slide deck. It's a bit technical for the demo. There is also stuff on it that you can follow on your own. So you don't have to note everything. We will hand out the slide deck. And the webinar will also be recorded. That's the presentation section. And then you can find it on the Mioty Alliance website or also on our YouTube channel. So you can follow along. Even those who couldn't join now, you can always watch it later and have access to the demo. Now we have Peter Hedberg, General Manager of the Alliance, who will also say some words before we get started with the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Mika. So before we kick things off here, just a few words about the status in the Alliance and so on as regards these things. There's been a lot of work done, a lot of it by these two companies represented here, Miromico and Stackforce, but also others, in lowering the entry barriers basically into the mioty world. So making sure that if you're really interested from the technical angle, so to say, to try it out and get started, it's getting easier and easier to do just that. So you should keep your eyes on what's happening with the Alliance and also the developer pages that we have online, because there's lots of useful material there for anyone interested. With that, I would like to leave the stage to Mario from Stackforce.
Yeah, thank you, Peter and Micha, for the kind introduction. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm delighted to be part of today's webinar and to introduce Stackforce along with our mioty protocol stacks. Before we dive into the details of our mioty protocol stacks, I'd like to briefly introduce Stackforce for those who may not know us. Stackforce was founded in 2014 by Professor Dr. Axel Sikora as the successor to the Steinbeis Transfer Center for Embedded Design and Networking. We are based in the southwestern Germany, near the Swiss and the French borders, in Eschbach, close to Freiburg, and have a branch office in Offenburg. Today, Stackforce employs around 20 people and is proud to be a founding member of the Mioty Alliance. Stackforce offers licenses for both single and multi-protocol stacks. The overview here shows a selection from our mioty product portfolio. Our mioty stack is currently available on Semtech, ST Microelectronics and TI platforms and is designed for classic IoT use cases such as smart cities, smart buildings, smart industry, where a small amount of data need to be transmitted reliably and in an energy efficient way. Additionally, our OMS version 5 stacks are available on Semtech and Scilabs platforms. And in its latest specification, the OMS group relies on the mioty's physical layer, among others, to natively support LPWAN for metering. Now, let's take a closer look at the stacks. Our mioty stack implements the ETSI TS 103.357 TSUNB in version 1.1.1. And depending on the platform, Class Z and Class A are supported. The Class Z stack is available for the STM32L0 with the Semtech SX127X transceiver, for the ST microelectronics STM32WL5, and the TI platforms CC13X0 and CC13X2. Class A is currently only supported for the CC13X0 and the CC13X2 TI platforms. And thanks to the support of different regions, the stack can also be used outside of Europe. The OMS version 5 splitting mode stack is a dual stack that supports both ULS1 and ULS2 modes of the OMS 5 specification, as well as the classic wireless MBUS-C mode. It also includes a Telegram scheduler, making it easy to implement complex transmission schemes. This stack is available as a single stack with the uplink splitting mode 1 for the STM32L0 with the Semtech SX127X, and as a dual stack with wireless MBUS-C mode for the Scilabs EFR32 FG23 and FG28. We design our stacks to be highly memory efficient, leaving as much memory as possible for the application. The table shows some reference code sizes. Column 1 shows the reference code size for the unidirectional OMS version 5 dual stack on the EFR32 FG23. Column 2 shows the memory footprint for the bidirectional mioty stack, so the Class Z stack, on the CC13X0, noting that about 15K of flash is occupied by the TI RTOS. The differences in the representation are due to more detailed information now being provided and the mioty memory specification just being older. Looking ahead, further development of both stacks is on our roadmap. For the mioty stack, we plan to port it to the Scilabs EFR32FG23 and the ST microelectronics STM32WL3, with availability expected in the second half of 2026. We are also evaluating an upgrade to version 2 of the mioty specification, including Class B and C, and the high data rate feature, though there is no concrete timeline yet. For the OMS version 5 stack, we plan to port it to the STM32WL3 as well, and are already working on implementing bidirectional wireless MBUS. In the long term, the modes downlink splitting mode 1 and downlink splitting mode 2 will enable additional downlink capabilities via the mioty physical layer as well. Additionally, we are considering a hardware agnostic version that can be ported to custom platforms for both stacks. Now let's take a look at how we package our stacks to make integration as smooth as possible. First, they are ready to use. Each stack is ported to a reference platform and comes with example applications for different use cases. The stack itself, as well as parts of the platform, are delivered as an object code library. However, all drivers that may require adaptation to your target board are provided as source code, giving you the full flexibility. We also include pre-compiled binaries for quick demonstrations. And if you want to build the project yourself, you can compile and flash it using the provided toolchain files for common open source tools. Second, we provide extensive documentation, including README, changelog, user guides, and several application notes so that you have everything to get started quickly. And finally, we keep a flat folder structure for simplicity, making navigation and integration straightforward. And now, what does this mean for your design? Our stack is typically designed for single chip architectures, meaning you can run both the stack and your application on the same MCU. However, if your application is very resource intensive or requires strict isolation, running the mioty stack on a dedicated MCU is also possible. The stack usually runs on bare metal, but it can also be combined with an RTOS, such as FreeRTOS or TI RTOS, if your application requires multitasking. The integration with other processes is possible, but compared to protocols like LoRaWAN, mioty uses multiple short bursts with strict timing requirements, and therefore it's recommended to avoid interrupting mioty procedures with time-consuming tasks. Also, make sure to use a high-precision crystal oscillator to ensure the accurate timing. Now, let's move from the technical side quickly to the commercial side. How do we make these solutions accessible for different business needs? That's where our license packages come in. We offer our license packages with we offer our stacks with different license packages, ensuring there's a suitable option for every business. The professional package uses a prepaid royalty model, ideal for small to medium volumes or ramp-up scenarios. The enterprise package follows a post-paid volume-based model. After an upfront fee, the annual pricing depends on the number of licenses consumed. The unlimited package allows unlimited copies of the stack without any reporting, either within a 3-year term or for lifetime use. Both the Enterprise 2.0 and the unlimited package include 8 hours of support, and additionally, you can purchase support at any time, also for the professional license. To make getting started easy, we offer evaluation licenses for most of our stacks. These evaluation versions have minor technical limitations, but allow you to try out the stack before making a purchase. To simplify the availability in the future, we are currently redesigning our homepage. And once it goes live at the end of January or start of February, you will be able to download any evaluation package at any time. And after a one-time registration and digital signing of the evaluation agreement. As we come to the end, here's what I'd like you to remember. You can start with confidence by evaluating our stacks before committing. The integration is straightforward and helps you to reduce complexity. And thanks to our ready-to-use packages, you can speed up the development and accelerate your time to market. With flexible licensing options, we make sure there's a solution that fits your business, whether you're scaling up or just starting out. Thank you for your attention. And now let's hand over to Liliane to see the stack in action.
So welcome everyone also from my side. And first of all, of course, thank you very much to the mioty Alliance for having us today. And thank you, Mario, for the introduction. As Mario already said, we're going to go a little bit more hands-on in this second half, and we'll show you how to get started, what our journey porting from LoRaWAN devices to mioty devices was, and in the end, we'll conclude with a demo that you can see everything live in action. Somehow it doesn't seem to move over. Let's try again. Very good. First of all, a couple of words about Miromico. So we are a design house based in Zurich, and we are passionate about hardware and basically everything RF, and that's what we do. We design, develop, and manufacture IoT devices. So everything starting from wireless modules, gateway cards to fully certified devices. Apart from being, of course, a device manufacturer, we also offer our customers the full horizontal offer by taking them by the hand and bringing them from the idea over consulting engineer to the final product that is ready to enter the market. And for us, we have been in LoRaWAN for a couple of years. We have been in LoRaWAN basically since LoRa exists. Even before the standard existed. And of course, we had the pleasure to enter mioty and to explore mioty in a very early stage. I myself had the pleasure of being part of the design group designing our mini PCIe gateway card. And most importantly for today, I also had the pleasure to port a couple of our devices from LoRaWAN to mioty. And today I would like to take you on that journey and with that being said, this is more than just a marketing gig. We really are working with the Stackforce stack, and this is the real journey. So first of all, of course, before you can start, you need a little bit of hardware. You cannot write firmware without hardware. I guess that's pretty clear. Miromico for that offers two different packages that make it really easy for you to get started. On one hand, we have the Miro POC kit mioty, which is really intended for technology evaluation with the least overhead. So with that package, you will get like a ready sensor off the shelf, a gateway that's already pre-configured and registered to the Loriot network server, and a little ThinkSport instance where you can directly see the data. So it's really as easy as plugging in your gateway, connecting it to LAN, and within a couple of minutes, you will see the first data and can do range tests. So you will answer the questions, is it the right technology for me, range questions, and how it actually works. However, today we will focus on the stack. And for that, we have the Miro evaluation kits, which is intended, of course, for engineers, techies, and integrators. The kit comes with our wireless modules, the so-called FMLRs, and has a really easy start because you won't need any programmers. Everything is included with the onboard debugger, and it will answer your questions. How easy is it to start with my mioty development? And you will see that you will actually have your first app running within only a few minutes. Our FMLR is our range of wireless modules. Funkmodule long range, a nice mix between German and English. And these modules are always contain a radio and an MCU. In this case, it's an SoC, so both are combined in one package. The philosophy behind our wireless modules is that we have a standard footprint, so it's really easy to change from one technology to another. Today, we will be talking about the FMLR WL-STM, which is based on the STM32WLE chipset that, as Mario already mentioned, has mioty stack support from Stackforce. However, since we have a standard footprint, it will also be really easy to change it later, for example, to a Texas Instruments or a Silicon Lab or an ST Microelectronics chipset that has bidirectional support as well, without having to redesign your carrier board. So how do you purchase it? Currently, the easiest way to purchase it is through our website. You navigate to our website, to the product section, and then to evaluation kits, and then you will see the range of kits that we have for LoRaWAN and most importantly for mioty. And you just hit request info and you will be connected to one of our support or engineers, and they will also help you set up the system if you need some help. But it's also planned that in Q2 we will have it available on a couple of distribution channels, such as the mioty shop or the IoT shop. So now to take you on the journey, the first mioty product that we launched and that we ported from LoRaWAN to mioty was the Miro Insight. This is a multi-sensor platform with a couple of different sensors, temperature, CO2, humidity. It's also a door sensor, pressure, and VOC. This one is based on a Miromico custom carrier board and our own wireless module. And again, this is the modular design, so we are also planning maybe later, according to the timeline of Stackforce, of course, to port it to maybe a bidirectional chipset. Also to mention that Stackforce has a really nice kind of modular way of building the apps, so porting from one Stackforce stack to the other is also really seamless. How long will it take you? Well, if you start with the Miro POC kit mioty, you will have your first data and your first experience with mioty for sure within 15 minutes, even as a beginner. If you start from scratch with the off-the-shelf hardware, let's say you buy some own sensor, you buy some own gateway, but off the shelf, and you register it yourself, then you might see some data within half an hour, and then if you start with our wireless module and the Stackforce stack, and you build your first example app, register everything yourself, even then you will have some great results within 1 hour. Porting a device in the complexity of our Miro Insights, I think the first time it took me a couple of days, and then every time you do it, it's easier, and it's easier. So even that can be done within days, so not weeks or months. With that being said, of course, these were my timelines, and I had a little bit of advantages because I know mioty from before, but I still believe that these timelines are also possible for people with less experience. What is the starting point? So first of all, for those who are not so familiar with LPWAN or with mioty, we need, of course, a little bit of infrastructure and also some pieces of software. Of course, we need the end device. That's what we're building today. We also need a base station. This base station needs to be connected to a service center and an application center. And from there, you can collect the data into an IoT platform. The nice thing about mioty is that everything is standardized. So we have the mioty protocol level from the device to the base station, and then we have the BSSCI to the service app center. And from there, you can use some standard protocol like MQTT to really easily fetch your data. Here was our starting point. Obviously, we started with our own Miro Insight and our own Miro Edge mioty gateway. This is available to purchase off the shelf. Then we started also with the free evaluation license from Stackforce. So just like everyone else, of course, we wanted to evaluate before we commit. Then we started with the free community version of Lorio, which we will have a little look at also in the live demo. And we also have a demo set up, which we will not show today, but with that being said, if you want to have a ready-to-use IoT platform, then, for example, Alkensa is also a member of the mioty Alliance that offers a nice integration that fits together with Lorio and our hardware. So please don't be overwhelmed. These slides will be distributed in the end, and this is a recipe for you later to come back and to get started. So obviously we need to purchase some hardware. You can, of course, you can also build it. A base station, for example, can be built with our mini PCI card, which is literally a plug and play a solution that you can connect to any standard gateway that has that interface. Then, of course, you need some endpoint hardware. You can get your own sensor. You can use an evaluation kit. You can also literally use just an STM32 Nucleo kit. So that's really up to you. I would really recommend, if it's your first time with mioty, get some off-the-shelf hardware. You can get it also from Lansen, from Deal Metering, Sentinum, just that you can verify your setup before you start fiddling around with your own solution or your own device. Of course, I believe most developer will have it, but you will need like some programming kit, like an SD-Link, Segger J-Link, something like that. Anything will work as long as it has like SVD interface. Then you can register a free community account on Lorio. Takes you 1-2 minutes. Then once you have everything set up, basically everything ready to start the cooking, you can register your first network and register your first gateway on Lorio or on, of course, any network server of your choice. Because obviously we don't have a national, at least in Switzerland, we don't have a national network for mioty yet. Then it's really easy. You will need to configure the gateways. All of the off-the-shelf gateways that you can find on the market offer some sort of web interface that you can connect to your PC's LAN, configure it, fetch the TLS certificates, and then you're ready to go. You just connect your gateway to the internet with LAN or LTE. You might have to insert your own SIM, and then your network should be set up. If you have an off-the-shelf hardware, which I would really recommend, you should register it on Lorio to learn the process. We will quickly have a look in the end in the demo as well. Important step, we are talking about class set devices, unidirectional devices. So you need to attach them manually to the base station or set up a smart attach because opposed to a bidirectional device, the device does not know itself if it will be attached. So it's kind of a static process, but it's also very well, this process is also very well described on the mioty developer page if you want to know more. But I'm just saying this because this was like the most frequent cause of support cases for us. Then, yay, we're ready. We can activate the device and just sit back and enjoy until we see the first data. And of course, after verifying your setup, let's go ahead and build the first own app with the Stackforce stack. So we'll do that right now. Of course, first of all, we need to set up. As Mario mentioned, it's super easy after you sign the evaluation agreement. You get your zip file, you unzip it. It's recommended to use VS Code. I believe a lot of programmers are already using it. You need the basic setup, so you'll need CMake and of course the ARM toolchain. And if you want, you can also use OpenOCD for debugging and launching, which is also totally fine. Most people use their own scripts or even just a tool like JFlash Then you need to set up your workspace. As the stack comes, you already have a setting.json, and you literally just need to fill in your own path for the toolchain and OpenOCD if you would like that, and then you're already ready to go, and you can build it. And this also generates your launch configuration, which you can later use for debugging if you would like to. And then we're ready, and we can already flash it onto our own Nucleo board or Miromico development kit. A little overview of the stack, and I'm picking up here again what Mario already showed. So it's a really flat folder structure, and what we'll need to get started is actually really simple, just the apps. So that the stack, we actually never need to touch it. In a third party, you will find the ST drivers, no need to touch these as well. So you might want to add some drivers later to the hardware abstraction layer, but to start, you will really only need the apps folder. We will start with, so there are 3 example apps, a modem app, a hardware test, and an example main. And we will start with an example main because that's really just a while loop that is well suited for any kind of bare application that we will use for our sensor. Then, of course, you might want to flash your own keys. So the easiest way to do that is just to use the already available function sfstackset. Then you can set the profile, for example, to EU1. You can set the mode. You can set your def AU, endpoint AU. You can set your network key and your short address. And this literally, you can put that before the while loop. Everything will run out of the box. Then this example main will just like send a 5-byte dummy payload in this function log send data, and as soon as you want to add your own data, it's really easy. You just modify this function, and that's it. One notice here, it might be that your evaluation stack is limited to a certain endpoint AOE or like a range of it, depending on which model you purchase. And if you're out of that, obviously it will not work. So what did we do to port basically the whole sensor from a LoRaWAN device to a mioty device? Our starting point was that we already had a board support package for our LoRa device. So we did have a pretty good starting point. We had the low power implementation, then we had the sensor drivers, we had them ready, and our firmware people did a nice job. So it was really nicely abstracted and could be reused here as well. And then we had the LoRa app. What we did was just using the BSP and the sensor drivers as submodules. And in the end, we decided to manually port the LoRa application. When we ported the app, we decided to leave the payload format unchanged. This could probably later be further abstracted, but we initially just did copy as is. And basically, the first raw version of the sensor we had ported within less than a day. And then something that's important to look out, that also Mario already mentioned, it's important to make sure that your app state machine is only running when the stack is idle. mioty is very time critical and shouldn't be disturbed when the stack, when there is some mioty action going on. But also it's abstracted really nicely. And then lastly, some low power practical tips, because that's usually a pain point when you develop like a new sensor. First of all, of course, do the measurement correctly. We measure with an OTI. There are other solutions there like NRF power profilers that are also really affordable, do a great job. And a lot of these sensors, they have a super cap on them to support the battery. If you have one of these, remove them. Otherwise, you'll just measure the charging current of the super cap. Then another really important point is go to sleep only in one place, which is already handled by the stack. Handle stack states is the function name for it. And don't do funny games like going to sleep randomly also in your own app. Then, of course, ensure that all peripherals, such as the I2C that you might introduce yourself, are properly deinitialized and all the pins are reset to high impedance. And with these tips, you will come to a pretty low power consumption quite fast. For us, that was like roughly around 3 microamps, which can give you battery lifetimes of up to 10 years. So now it's time to have a little look together. I will share my screen. And I believe you can see my screen right now. And what we're seeing here is the web interface of the Miro Edge mioty base station. And you can see already we have a spectrum here, so we can actually see what's going on. Then we have these fields here, RX5 messages and RX MAC message and MAC messages. The RX5 messages will show you any mioty message that we receive, irrespective of whether we have it registered on some service center or not. So even if we don't have a Lorio or any service center account, we can directly verify if we're sending something with these RX5 messages and the spectrogram. And we will see that in a second. And once it's registered, it will also pop up here in the MAC messages. Okay, so we will also quickly have a look here. So if you registered to Lorio, you log in, you will get this interface. And as said, you will need to do your own network, which I already do, and then register your base station, which is really easy. You just click add base station and you can register and fetch the certificates, but I'll leave that to another webinar to do this process. Then, of course, we want to have our own application. I already did that for this webinar, and then enrolling the endpoint is as simple as giving it a name, putting in our credential, and for a class set device, of course, we will not have a bidirectional enabled, so I'll leave that as disabled. I won't do it now because it's already enrolled. And then here you will see, okay, now we already have a couple of messages arriving, so we see that it works. The important point is before you get started, you will go on attachments. You'll see the names of the base stations in range, and you will just click propagate attachment. You only have to do that once. Okay, and then let's switch to the stack. You can see we're really just using the base stack. I'll make that a bit. Added our own credential, and then it's really easy. So I really didn't change anything from the original stack to show it here, except for these 5 lines of code and changing the settings.json to my settings. So this is really exactly what you'll be doing. Oh, excuse me. And then we can see the messages arriving here. Here you can see a mioty message. You can also see that it arrived just now in the MAC messages. And we can, of course, also see in Lorio that now, a few seconds ago, we got our dummy message. And that's all it takes to build your very first mioty endpoint application. And it should only take you a few minutes. I will stop sharing now and give it back to Micha. So with that little demo, I would like to conclude and say that, of course, we're here to support. If you need some support in porting the stack, we also offer that as an engineering service. And thank you very much for your attention.
Yes, thanks a lot for his insights. That's great to have it as an overview here in this webinar. Thank you, Mario. Thank you, Liliane. And yes, if you have any questions, just feel free to reach out. The email addresses are here. And also you can always reach out to the mioty Alliance if you need any support there to get started. And yes, thanks a lot for joining this webinar.